I wonder if Mr. Birn would like some huli huli chicken.
And we actually brought Mr. Birn on. I told him the interview was about overtime and all that good stuff, but it's really just about that. We just wanted to get his reaction to the Meghan Markle, Prince Harry, Oprah thing.
Yeah, you didn't fool me, Chris.
I know. Okay, yeah. He's like, I'm tired of talking about Bridgerton, or let's move on to the Meghan Markle interview.
Yeah, like we're serious.
Yeah.
What did you think?
I would like the steak and kidney pie. And a kipper.
I got to Google what.
No, I'm not sure.
We have Ed Birn, Administration Director, here in the KUAM News Zoom room. Thanks for joining us, Mr. Birn. I know that you had been in training this morning. Was it a training or?
No, it was a investor presentation for the hot bond refinancing.
Oh, how did that go?
It went very well so far. I mean, this was the first one, but this investor was certainly interested in buying the bonds.
And what kind of goes into one of these presentations, if you could?
Yes, I'd be happy to take you through it. There are basically three things that go into it. One is what's called the POS, the preliminary offering statement, that has lots of details about the offering and the terms and the repayment terms and how the indenture will look. Then there's a actual presentation that's sent to them in advance that summarizes the important things. And in this particular case, because it's the HOT, which is the hotel occupancy tax, information about visitor arrivals and what we expect to happen compared with what has happened over past years. And the third part of it is actually talking to individual investing companies and answering their questions. And that's very helpful for gauging the market interest. And of course, the market interest determines the price that these bonds will eventually be offered at.
Well, that was quite intriguing. How excited are you? We just got the news. $661 million.
Yes,
Christmas came.
Do you have enough ink and printers?
Yeah,
over there?
how's your check printing machine?
I think we need to get a new one. Some of our checks are still printed on a dot matrix printer, and we're trying to get away from that. So this is a good reason for doing so.
I guess
yes, 661 million is a lot of money, but it's supposed to last a long time, so we have to be careful how we spend it.
Right, and it sounds like the governor's already spent about half of it. I mean, for all intents and purposes, right, Bree?
Yeah, she said $300 million. She wants to go to build a new hospital, and she is going to build a new hospital. And the $20 million that Carl's asking for the Guam Visitors Bureau and whatever, and whatever else he needs, basically. So the balance is 341 million. Do you have any idea where some of that's going to go?
Well, we still have some costs that we have to pay for that are associated. All of this is supposed to be related to costs that we're incurring as a result of the COVID pandemic.
Right.
And just to address your question about the hospital, I mean, what better use for COVID funds than to build a new hospital? I don't think you'll find too many people on this island that don't think that we should have a new public hospital, or at least have an investment in a public hospital that provides every service that we need. And if you took the COVID, the GMH was the COVID nominated hospital, so that's certainly a good use of the funds. The rest of the funds, actually, BBMR are working on at the moment, but we've still got ongoing COVID costs that we're trying to pay for, and this will be more than helpful to get those funds paid.
Are you talking about that $20 million quarantine and isolation facility bill?
Yeah, we still got a quarantine and isolation facility open, and bills come in every day from those facilities which need to be paid. This particular slice of funding, for the very first time, and this was requested by all the governors, including ours, includes revenue replacement, which didn't qualify under the first slice. So that will help us to pay for some things that we've been struggling to pay for over the last few months.
Do you have that list?
No, I don't. We're the BBMR. I spoke with the Leicester Council this morning. We're still working on it, and he needs to present it to the governor. But it's intended that when it's all agreed, that it will be made public.
Do you have an idea though, like how much revenues we need to replace?
Yes, I mean, round numbers. I've looked at some numbers that have been provided by other people, including some of the autonomous agencies that we've had to make some assumptions on, and it's it's something like somewhere between 60 and 80 million a year. So depending on how you calculate it. So, I don't think there's, again, many people that don't think we've lost revenues as a result of the pandemic, and certainly all the other states have confirmed that they're in a similar situation. But as I say, it's very premature to talk about it. It's gone to the president. I understand the president is going to sign the bill on Friday afternoon his time. So hopefully we'll get the money very soon after that.
Ed, how's it going to work? Because the Gov said that the $661 million will not be counted as revenues in the budget talk. So can you kind of make sense of that for us?
Yes, I'll try. I'll try and explain it. The 661 million are federal funds, right? So the local budget that the legislature finally authorizes is only covers local funds. It does have to make some assumptions about federal matching funds, because the local funds have to match for not very many programs, but there are some programs that have federal matching funds. So the budget has to consider what the local match is to those federal matching funds. But you won't, other than that, the budget doesn't cover any federal funds, and they come through in a different way. And to us here at DOA, it's a separate fund that we account for as a separate fund of the government of Guam.
Okay. Did you have anything else on the budget? All right. I wanted to follow up on public health because, Arts and Augustine, and we spoke with Speaker Therese Jalahi. She said that the Department of Administration, they're still waiting for some timesheet information for DOA to provide to public health regarding their ongoing investigation into allegations that certain nurses that were assigned to the government quarantine facility were putting down extra hours allegedly on their timesheets that they weren't actually working. Do you have any update on whether?
No, I don't, Sabrina. Timesheets. I'm not aware of anybody waiting for any information from here. Timesheets originate in the operating agency. In this case, is public health. Obviously, DOA doesn't create a timesheet. It requires the input for the actual agency employee. If they need any information, it's all on the system as well. It's all recorded. You can see how many hours each individual worked on any particular day. So I'm not aware of anybody waiting for information from us.
Okay, so
And if they are, need to let me know.
okay, so you guys aren't doing anything, any audit, investigation, anything on behalf of public health into nurses?
No, the public health is doing their own investigation. if in the end that they find evidence of something that needs to be dealt with, the process that they should follow is, of course, for them to advise HR here at DOA of any proposed disciplinary action they intend to take, because they have to follow the rules and regulations for progressive discipline. Let's hope they don't find anything. Let's hope that everybody has behaved as they should. But if they do, they will report it to HR when they've concluded their investigation.
Okay, so as far as you know, and then HR, as far as you know, as of today, HR isn't doing anything for public health.
No, HR isn't.
Okay. So I guess we just have to follow up on what exactly Art is talking about then. How's the ERA program going?
I've got some updated numbers for you. As of this morning, I asked Bernie to update them for me. We've had 863 applications, 412 by email, and 451 in hard copy. And we're working our way through this. Everybody has access to these forms either on the website or hard copy here or at the mayor's. I think the process is going pretty well. I think it's actually one of the smoothest programs that we've been able to administer. It's not overwhelming, fortunately, with the number that we've had. And the team tell me that they're confident that they'll be able to move to payments pretty quickly.
Awesome. And yeah, when Bernie was on last week, they were talking about, so this is just for the tenants, but eventually they were going to roll out the program for the landlords. Correct? Has that transpired yet?
Yes, let me clarify. Right?
Okay.
The payments will go to the landlords based upon the information that we get from the tenants. The utility claims will obviously go to the utilities, and they're probably the first people that we're going to be paying out because it's easier to identify. One of the issues that's come up, I think, that just needs a little bit more work on is that some of the landlords that the tenants have been reporting are kind of like members of the family. Like if you have a house and you rent out a room or two rooms, it's a little unclear as to how exactly that works, and there probably isn't a rental agreement that documents that. But that's one of the things that the team is working through, and I'm confident that we'll get those issues resolved pretty quickly. But the payments actually go to the landlords, so the landlords have to send in their information, which will be matched up with the tenants' reported amounts that they say they owe.
I see. Okay. So everything is still, wait, there's a deadline, right? There's a deadline that's the 19th, just so people.
Yes, there's a deadline for tenants to apply. Let me just tell everyone that, we're working, this program allowed us to make a lot of our own rules, unlike the HUD program that works under HUD rules, and they're much more strict. So we're operating under the Treasury frequently asked questions. The Treasury so far hasn't issued formal guidelines, but I don't expect that they will issue guidelines that are any more restrictive than what we're currently applying.
Okay. I also just wanted to follow up on the bereavement payout for people that died from COVID, and there was a certain amount that was set aside, I think, in CARES money for that. And I think when we spoke about it a while back, they kind of exceeded that amount. Are you guys still making those payments?
Yes, in fact, there's a payment going out today. The amount that was finally budgeted under the CARES Act 1, if we can call it that, was 1.4 million. And so far we've paid out, I think it's 126 claims. So we're just a few claims under that limit. Let's hope we don't have any more deaths, but if we do, I think that we would certainly consider that some of CARES Act 2 money would be available for the program.
All right. So, but people don't have to worry, right? If they did, okay. So that program, even though the CARES money is no longer there, they're still going to get be able to file a claim.
Yes, up to the 140 that the 1.4 million represents. But we all pray that we're not going to get any more deaths. And in the last few days, we've only got one person in hospital at the moment with COVID. The signs are very good that we won't need to consider that.
Okay. Is there any issues with like payments or any outstanding issues with like a hazardous pay? Is that you guys handle that?
Yes. Well, we handle it based upon the information that we get from the agencies. We've had, maybe I should make that, we've had a considerable amount of success with catching up with overtime, and that actually looks as a result of our intervention here. That looks much better. We do have some agencies that have yet to catch up with reporting for hazard pay, but we're on to them every week when we get the reports, and we will catch up and we will get it paid if it's due.
Is it just that these agencies aren't filling out the paperwork correct? Or
pay, was required to be reported on a separate form. When agencies report their regular time and overtime, that's in the system, so that came through much more smoothly. We asked agencies to report hazard pay on a different form because at the beginning we had 3 rates. And as we went through the program, the number of rates decreased, but we needed to know exactly which rate each individual was entitled to each day, and it could and did vary. So it was a separate timesheet. We just haven't got all those timesheets yet from each agency, but as soon as we get them, we process them.
All right. Was there any other information that you wanted to get out, Mr. Birn?
I think you covered most of the things that you normally cover. As far as DOA is concerned, we want to get these payments out. And again, I would like to acknowledge the hard work that's done by the staff of DOA in pushing these payments. These payments are the end of a long process in some cases that start with either recruitment or procurement and have to go through a system to the point that we cut a check or send out an EFT. A lot of people are involved. A lot of people have to cooperate with each other. I want to make sure that everybody understands the amount of hard work that goes into it and the amount of hard work that's done, and acknowledge that we're doing pretty well in getting these payments out.
All right. Yeah, but seriously, so what did you think of the Meghan Markle interview and with Oprah? Did you watch it? Did you watch it?
Well, you want the honest truth?
Yeah.
I watched it. I watched the first day, but I kind of fell asleep in the middle, so I had to watch the second half on a second day, and the second half was when the Duke of Sussex joined the conversation. If you're asking for my personal view, and please bear in mind that I moved to the States 35 years ago, so it's not like I follow this every day. They were presented with the task that perhaps they didn't feel that they were appropriately equipped for. The monarchy is an institution. Right? It doesn't really matter who the people are. The monarchy is there because it's part of the British way of operating. You know, there's no written constitution in Britain. The whole thing is based upon history and precedent. So if you're going to do that, you have to follow the precedent. Right? And it's probably not going to work if you go into this kind of contract, whether it's a marriage contract or however you look at it, and expect that you're going to change the system or the system will somehow conform to you. Certainly not in a very short period. You know, over a period of time, it might change, and certain things certainly have changed with the way that the monarchy connects with people. I can remember a personal memory that when I first went to school, it happened to be the 900th anniversary of the Battle of Hastings in 1066, and it coincided with the 100-year anniversary of my school. So the Queen was scheduled to come and pay a visit to the school. And she did, except she was kind of late, and it was something to do with the traffic. So, the darkness was gathering when she came, but people came to, parents and all the pupils there waited for her to come because it was something that people would look forward to, seeing the Queen coming to celebrate some historical event. And there were two historical events that happened that day. Even now, I'm surprised at the number of people, even this day of television and high definition television and all these interviews, the number of people that would line the streets in order to see the Queen or a member of the royal family. So I don't think you want to do something that's going to destroy that view that people have. And if you think that you're going to do it, you have to do it in a much more subtle way. And I honestly don't think that an interview with Oprah is going to change the British system.
Right. Yeah.
What do you think about Piers Morgan stepping down from Good Morning Britain?
I've not actually watched. Have you watched Good Morning Britain?
No, I haven't. But I did. I was reading this.
It may or may not be a good thing. Again, breakfast television was a new thing. Like I guess it was like 40 years ago.
I think British television.
I guess it's a lesson to us. I guess I'm never going to see either of you two get up and walk out of the studio, right?
I think I might have.
Yeah. I think British television peaked with Benny Hill.
Yes, well, that was many years. Well, my favorite was Morecambe and Wise.
Well, Mr. Birn, I got to say that I kind of thought of you a little bit when I watched the Meghan Markle interview because you were a British dude married to a Chamorro woman. And so I don't know. I mean, I just saw a similar parallel there. But I got to ask you, because you look pretty comfortable during the governor's State of the Island speech, what was more entertaining for you, that speech or the interview?
Well, I was, I don't know if I was comfortable. It wasn't, the chairs in the legislature can hardly be described as comfortable.
Right, yeah.
But I felt more involved with the governor's speech because it affects my day-to-day, and she was gracious enough to mention me.
Right.
See, Chris, now you're asking him to do an interview on our show to speak out about the Guam monarchy. Don't put poor Mr. Birn in that position. Come on, man. He's a friend of ours.
All right. Thanks, Mr. Birn.
I think I'll let others comment more on the interview. Maybe now they've got it out off of their chests. Maybe it'll all go away, and everybody can go back to where they were. Yeah. I guess there's a lingering issue to do with some racial comments, and the Queen has said that she will investigate that. But beyond that, I don't, I think maybe it's happened and everything can go back to normal.
All right,
Yeah, I don't think she could go back though.
Yeah, I don't think they're going back.
Oh, no. You mean not back to Britain, just back to normal.
I know. Thank you, Mr. Birn.
Thank you, but I will try and watch Good Morning Britain next time I go back.
Yeah, he's like the administration director / our guy with the British perspective. Okay, Ed, we'll see you. Thank you.
Take care.
Thanks. Keep well.
All right.
He's totally into it.
Yeah, he is. He was trying to play back like, no, I fell asleep and I had to watch it twice. But no, he was definitely into it, especially when he's talking about that memory of the Queen visiting his school during the anniversary of the Battle of Hastings.
What an honor that must have been to be